what's going on? What's going on? What's going on, peeps? What's going on? What's going on? Alrighty. Alright, so it appears I can come back and get you guys some more boxing news. I'm sorry. Alright, here. So it appears that, according to several reports, that Adonis Stevenson is scheduled to fight this fall. Now the question is, who would that opponent will be? Now, there have been some recent interviews that Stevenson has made it clear that he will not be fighting Elite Alvarez. Although Alvarez is mandatory, and the fact that he's paid this man step-aside money twice within 2 years. Now, before I can get my point across about that situation, since Low Play didn't want to listen, I was going to say that Elite Alvarez is at fault for taking that step-aside money in the beginning. All right? That's the case. If he claims he wasn't ready for the fight, the WBC should have stripped him from his mandatory position. However, there is a step-aside deal that takes place between the mandatory and the champion, and Adonis Stevenson elected to do so. Okay? He elected to do so. He gave this man money twice to pursue a fight against an undermatched opposition by the name Sean Monahan. Of course, that fight didn't go through because the TV networks did not want to sign on that fight. So that is the fact, and I know Low Play wants to distort that fact by saying that Adonis Stevenson didn't want that fight in the beginning. That's bullshit. He actually wanted that fight. He now, since he knew that he couldn't get anyone, the networks to sign on it, that's when he was pretty much desperate to get somebody in that, to fill in that date that he wanted to fight Sean Monahan. Yeah, what up, NBT? What up, man? Hey, I'm not sure if you looked at that last hangout that Low Place and I had, which was a crazy hangout, and hey, you know what, bro? Let me send you a link, man. Hold on. Let me do that. Give me 1 second. Let me send you a link so you jump on. In fact, you know what? Let me put it in the chat. So give me a second. Yeah, man. Yeah, let me tell you something, man. The dude was cutting me off. He was muting me like crazy. The dude wouldn't let me finish my point. And the reason why he was cutting me off and he was muting me because he got upset the way the boxing librarian had kicked him off of the hangout and muted him at least once or twice. Oh, it's all good, man. It's all good. All right, no problem, man. No problem. Yeah, I'll definitely set one up for tomorrow, man. We can definitely do that. Yeah, but yeah. Anyhow, I'll still do a I'll still do a yeah, I know. Carmen D, man. Yeah, I'll definitely yeah, I definitely want to definitely want to get you on, man, so we could talk about this. Yeah, so he got upset, and then when I got on, because he went after the LDBC, he's been, I don't know what his beef. He wants to go to war with the LDBC, man. I don't know why he's doing that. First of all, I got on. I want to ask him why is he so upset that Elite Alvarez is coming out speaking out against Adonis Stevenson, and I asked him that why are you upset at him that he wants to get his title shot while you criticize Wilder for not taking care of the Stavern mandatory situation that only lasted for a few months. Why are you upset with? Why aren't you upset with Stevenson for not taking care of that for the last 2 years? You know, and he wanted to drift off to something else. You know how he is. He wants to give out 5-10 minute answers that make no sense. He doesn't want to answer questions directly. Of course, and what happened in that hangout, it got out of control where people were saying that I got smashed in that hangout. I mean, yeah, it's easy to get smashed when a guy doesn't want to let you talk. He wants to cut you off and he wants to talk over you all the goddamn time. I mean, that's gonna happen, man. Obviously, I knew that was coming. I was expecting it, so I wasn't really tripping about it. I mean, it is what it is, man. But the fact is that you know what? Here's the deal. So I made it the last hangout I just made. I said, you know what, bruh? Here's what I want to do. I'm gonna extend an invitation. I'm not gonna cut you off. I'm not gonna mute you like you did me constantly. So you come on here. I'm not gonna adjust your volume so you could look bad. I'm gonna let you come on my hangout. You get all your, get your points across. All right. And the thing is that he's blaming me for the reason why the librarian kicked him off the hangout. That's true. That's true. That's a good point. That's a very good point. But to be fair though, Alvarez and his team did say they weren't ready at that time. So I'm kind of confused about it because I asked him this question. It's like, you know what? Why? Now we now know there's two step aside deal that was paid, right? So I asked him, low place is like, where did the other step aside situation occur? He said, well, I'm talking about 2016. I was like, no, I'm not talking about 2016. I'm talking about what happened the last time. Why did Stevenson paid him a separate step aside deal? This is something we were never heard of. We didn't know about, and he didn't want to get into that, so he tried to get on the Alvarez, tag him and all that stuff. Yeah, you know what, dude? That's the thing. He does take his emotions out on the wrong people. He does that all the time, and it's funny though because he's going after the LDBC. He wants to start a war with them, and over this Adonis Stevenson situation. And I asked him kindly, he's like, dude, why are you so emotionally attached to this guy, Adonis Stevenson? You're so emotionally attached to him, and he just blew up when I said that. He went off. I'm like, oh, bro. I told him calm your nerves, and I started to insult him a little bit because he started to insult me. So I called him a bitch. I was like, stop being a bitch and calm down. Drink some water, man. Man, you about to have a stroke. He didn't like that, so he kept mute my mic before I could, kept mute me before I could talk, right? And so I told him, I was like, dude, you're not gonna, yeah, dude, you're not gonna win any debates, dude, by doing shit like that. I mean, you should have learned your lesson when you first talked to me and the second time and the third time. You cannot out-talk me, You're not gonna outsmart me. You can't do it. You tried to out the librarian, I don't know how many times, and then he's still claiming that he outsmarts the librarian. I mean, come on, seriously, man. Seriously. Yeah, dude. I don't understand this dude, man. I really don't. But yeah, like I said, it is what it is with this guy. It is what it is. But yeah, dude, I just wanted to just wanted to get a little bit of news here about the Don Stevenson. So this is what Yvonne Michelle had to say here. Let me go further into this. This is what he said. He said here, quote, as far as the Lady Alvarez situation, he's trying his best to resolve it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Then he started when I asked him to give me a link. He's like, I'm not asking, no, man, you better not defend them guys, man. He was like, you gonna defend the LDBC? I said, no, I'm sticking up for me. I want to ask you a set of questions. I'm not speaking for them. So he tried to connect me into the LDBC. I'm like, bruh, what is it that you don't get? I agree with the brothers 90% of the time, okay? And 10% of the time, I don't agree with them. So I have my own mind. I'm my own person, okay? So, and look, I told them, look, whatever they believe, that's their problem. If you believe they contradict themselves, fine. But don't tie me into that, and don't get upset with me that the librarian kicked your ass off the egg out yesterday. Well, that's true. That's true. That's true. Donna Stevenson has been a relevant champion. Yeah, man. He has, Donna Stevenson. See, this is the thing about Low Plays. He likes to go off these tangents, right? He wants to criticize. He's okay with people criticizing fighters that he don't give a fuck about, right? But when it comes to this guy, Adonis Stevenson, he cannot do no wrong. None, man. And let me just say this. I'm going to make this call right here. I could be wrong. Prove me if I'm wrong here. I could be proven correct. I mean, incorrect, I should say. I guarantee you this was going to happen. If Adonis Stevenson gets knocked the fuck out, or if he loses a fight, or he retires, whatever happened, whatever the scenario is, the dude's going to be off. Because when it happened, when Javier Fortuna's other boyfriend, when Javier Fortuna got knocked out by Jason Sosa, the dude remained silent. He was quiet when that knockout happened. He ain't talked about Fortuna after that. And I guarantee you, if it happens to Stevenson, if it happens to the guy that he's not supporting, let's say Alvarez knocks out Stevenson, he won't be back. I'm going to tell you that right now. He'll be shutting down his channel, just like these other guys that shut down their channels over one fucking fighter, like 978's Diplomat and Precise Presenter. I mean, come on, man. Yeah, yeah, dude. And the thing is, dude, he's giving props to guys like Sean Newton and Precise, man. The dude lost credibility when he does shit like that. And he goes off and say that Joseph Parker will lose to Badu Jack. You mean, seriously. Yeah, I mean, he can spin it. He can spin it. He can spin it. I mean, the dude just, he's off the rails, man. And the thing is, too, is like, he gets upset when people disrespect him. And I had to remind him, like, dude, when you and I crossed paths, you disrespected me. You know what I'm saying? You disrespected me. I didn't know you. You made a diss video about me. You made diss videos about a lot of LDBC members who had criticism about Adonis Stevenson. And didn't nobody know who the guy was. So this guy came on here, made a name for himself by disrespecting a lot of people who disagrees, who has a different, different view about his boyfriend Adonis Stevenson. And since then, he's built a platform that hey, you got to give him credit for that to some degree. But the thing is like now he doesn't like it when people come after him and troll him. He doesn't like it when I'm trolling him, but yet he has a nerve to troll other people when it comes to Stevenson. Yeah, what else you say here? He says you said that he'll say Alvarez offered step aside twice, but because he's getting known to lose. Yeah, first of all, Alvarez is not asking for step aside money. What is he talking about? Yeah, and I called him a bitch and he didn't like it. From now on, he's a bitch. The dude's a bitch because if you're gonna insult people, call them retards, like he insulted Bo just this moments ago on his channel about the Don Stevenson situation, called him a guy who's uneducated about the situation, and I say, call him he's uneducated. I say, you know what, bruh? Okay, now you got mad at me for calling you a bitch. Now you're going down and talk other guys, calling them retards and uneducated and stupid when it comes to your boyfriend. And I said that it's like this is your boyfriend that you look up to so much. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you this right now. If the Adonis Stevenson asked you to suck his dick, you will do it. That's what I'll tell him. I'm probably going far with this, but that probably be the case. You know? So, anyways, yeah, man. I mean, here's the thing. Will I go back on this channel to do another hangout? Why not, man? I like the fun. Shit, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, look, I'll go back on his channel, man. I like to see him get upset and highly emotional because that's what I want him to do. All right, I'm not trying to hear, I'm trying to, sometimes I'm trying to it's frustrating to get my point across, but the one thing I don't like is this dude give 5-10 minute answers. It's like, dude, just get straight to the point. It's okay to add a little, extra assertions here and there, but you be giving 5-10 minute answers. It makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, let me get to Yvonne Michelle's quote here. He says, look, Elite can sleep quietly. All right, this is what he told the Montreal Journal. And this is where a little place gets all his information through Montreal Journal, by the way. He said, look, we'll be consulted in any discussions that will take place in the coming weeks. He will have the last word here. Now, on the other hand, Michelle did not rule out the scenario where Stevenson could either face Jack or Ward in unification. Now, the promoter already has venues in Canada on hold in the final 3 months of the year. Now, we cannot prevent Adonis from dreaming of a unification, Michelle said. He always talked about wanting one. Now, on the other hand, he must understand he has responsibilities towards Alvarez. Yes, I was asked to book the dates in October, November, and December for Adonis's return. And that's what I did. One thing for certain is that he will fight in Canada. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. I mean, that's interesting what Michelle said here. So, we'll see. So we all know that he is booked for the fall. We just got to find out what the opponent is. Now, if it's a lower tier opposition, I'm going after Stevenson for this. Big time. If it is, he's getting it from me. You know what's funny though, dog? It's funny though when you mentioned about his hangouts because when I just re-listened to the hangout he and I have, I actually was laughing at it. I was actually laughing at his hangout, man, because the dude was he was just getting too emotional, man. It's like Jesus Christ, man. I told him, it's like, you so emotionally attached to the guy, man. God damn, you know. And it was like you just can't let this go when it comes to this guy. Exactly. It's like it's either Adonis Stevenson or Badu Jack. I'm gonna tell you one thing: if both of them their asses get knocked the fuck out, he won't be back on here. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I'll call it. He won't be back. Yeah, dude. He has disturbing behaviors. He has disturbing tendencies. You know what I'm saying? I mean, first he goes off trying to shadow box to prove everybody that he can fight, which is bullshit. You see his shadow boxing skills, right? Dude can't even throw a left hook to save his goddamn life. It was so goddamn awkward. He can't even jab to save his goddamn life. Yeah, but yeah, exactly. He does, man. He turns his. Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. Well, look. But here's another crazy thing too. Let's get off the Adonis Stevenson talk for a second. There's another thing I want to talk about. George Foreman just came out and said that Conor McGregor hurt Floyd, and the referee saved him. I think he's. Let me just give you rubber hands, those skinny ass arms you got. Hey, them tattoos Them tattoos don't make you tough, bro. Let's be real. All right. So, anyways, so George Foreman came out and said that he was very impressed by the professional boxing debut of Conor McGregor. George Foreman was impressed by Conor McGregor's boxing debut. Wow. Okay. So, Foreman came out and said that this is what he said. He said that he was impressed by McGregor's ability to box, his fighting heart, and his ability to last 10 rounds against his first boxing match against Floyd Mayweather. Well, I agree with Foreman on 2 of the 3 points. One, I don't think McGregor can box very well, and he did have the ability to last 10 rounds. So, yeah. Well, you know what? I don't know if Foreman has something against Floyd, because I know Foreman was complimentary to Floyd in the past when I think there was a quote, I believe. I'm not sure if this is true, because I remember one time I was debating about, the Muhammad Ali and Floyd Mayweather comparison and all that stuff. Somebody said that George Foreman said that that Floyd Mayweather was greater than Muhammad Ali skill for skill. All right, and I was arguing against that to some degree. All right, so I could have saw something where Foreman may have made that comment. So I don't know. I think I seen it. So it could be true. He was complimentary to Floyd, but obviously Foreman has something against Ali. So yeah, I agree with that. It's just that he was saying something. Yeah, it was it's just that he still had a grudge against Ali after all those years, and in Zaire Rumble in the Jungle. So that's why he was complimentary to Floyd when he said that. But now he's got something against him now. So yeah, George went on to say, look, on his surprise at McGregor's skills, he said, look, not only that he surprised Floyd, his surprise. Yeah, I agree with that. He did surprise a lot of us that he was able to last that long, because McGregor hit Floyd often. I don't know about that. Floyd's defense didn't even work against Conor. I mean, he had to come out and fight like an old boxing slugger, like George Foreman or something, like himself. Yeah, that's true. Floyd did have to pressure the guy to get him out of there. Yeah, I mean, I saw that talk show. I mean, there could have been some respect there. It could have been some respect there, but Foreman still couldn't. Some way, from what I heard, he still couldn't get over what happened in Zaire. I mean, maybe eventually later down in the years he did. Right after he made the Floyd Mayweather and Ali comments, but from that point, I didn't get that vibe from George that he didn't get over that. Nah, well, I don't know everything, bro. I'm not saying you're wrong, but from what I read and what I've seen, it seems like Foreman didn't really get over that until in the later years. I mean, perhaps after he made the Floyd Mayweather comment in comparison to Ali. So that's when he kind of got over it. But it is what it is. But yeah, he laughed about Floyd's. He pretty much clowned Floyd the way he fought, technically. so So he also further explained his impression of McGregor going 10 rounds, saying that he couldn't even go the distance sometimes, referring to the Rumble in the Jungle. See? Oh, my bad. Yeah, what's up, Mr. Boxer today, bro? Yeah, yeah. I mean, George is a top. He's arguably one of probably the top 10 greatest heavyweights, man. Probably top 10. He's up there, maybe top 15. He's up there, because the guy is like, one of the best top 2 pound for pound best punchers in history, right next to Julian Jackson. But yeah. I mean, yeah, George. Yeah, when he was commentating on HBO, man. As much as I respect George Foreman as a ring tactician, whatnot, and him being in the ring the way he fought, I often question his commentary when he was assessing fighters. Like, for example, I remember a time when he was he was criticizing Bernard Hopkins, and Bernard Hopkins was well ahead in the fight against Felix Trinidad. He was criticizing the dude, and I'm like, wait a minute, and Bernard Hopkins was fighting very well. He was well ahead in the fight, and Larry Merchant had to call him out on it and say, wait a minute, why the hell aren't you? Why are you giving Hopkins no credit for what he's doing? But you're ignoring what he's doing, but you're acknowledging Trinidad. So George didn't give a good answer, and Larry Merchant put him on the spot. He's a champion just like Trinidad, so give him some respect. So yeah, George's commentary was like sometimes they were off, and they said that Lennox Lewis was a bad commentator. At least Lennox Lewis had some better objectivity than George. Yeah, man, I never forgave George for that Trinidad commentary, man. I never forgave him for that. I mean, well, I could say I did, but still, dude, it's like, dude, I gotta still hold that against you because that was an awful commentary. Because he didn't like Hopkins. He couldn't stand the dude. I don't know what it is about Hopkins he didn't like. He just couldn't stand him. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, Lennox Lewis was from an objectivity standpoint. Damn man, I'm butchering the word. From an objectivity standpoint, Lennox Lewis was a better commentator than George Foreman, if you ask me. The only difference is that George Foreman had more charisma. He had more style than Lennox. So that's why he was able to last all these years as a commentator on HBO. I mean, him and Roy. But Lennox didn't last that long because, to be honest with you, he lacked the charisma. He didn't have this style as a commentator. Hey, yeah, what's up, brother, Mr. Box Library? Shout out, man. I hope you're joining one of my first hangouts. Hey, man, let me see if I can get you on here. Hold on for a second. Let me see if I can do this. Yeah. Yeah, man. Sound much live on person. Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. I'm trying to, look, dude. Like I said, the invitation is open. The guy wants to hop on. I'll be here, man. I'm not gonna mute the dude. I'm not going to, lower his voice, just to score some points. I'm not gonna do all that. All right. So, I mean, it's enjoyable to see him go off these tantrums, man, because, like I was telling NBT, I was like, look, as soon as Adonis Stevenson and Badu Jack gets knocked the fuck out, or they leave the sport, or they somehow just give up the belts, whatever happens to them, if they leave the sport either type of way, he'll be gone. He won't talk about them anymore. Just like what happened to Javier Fortuna. When Javier Fortuna got knocked out, he didn't mention nothing about Fortuna ever since. But anyways, back to George's comments about McGregor pressing him, that he boxed extremely well. This is coming from George Foreman. I don't know if librarian, you have an opinion about George Foreman's comments about Conor McGregor's boxing skills, because George said that Conor pressed him as a boxer. He was very impressive, that he could box very well. I'm not sure George Foreman is there, but this is what he said. So he was, he like I said, I like George, but I have to disagree with him on this one. Yes, McGregor was a bit impressive for his fighting heart and the fact that he was able to last 10 rounds and he was able to hit Floyd a lot more than I've seen other guys hit him. But obviously that version of Floyd Mayweather is old, way past his best. So you would kind of expect that, but at the same time, Floyd Mayweather is a seasoned fighter, and he's gonna take care of business, get Conor out of there. Yeah, but yeah. Anyways, man. Anyways, yeah. The thing about this is that I want to give out a little bit of boxing news and get on this Adonis Stevenson situation. Again, he is scheduled to fight later this year, but we don't know who is the opponent going to be. It's either Lita Alvarez, Badu Jack, or Andre Ward. There's rumors there could be a unification bout, but those fights will have to happen in Canada. So that's what, according to what his promoter's saying. But anyways, yeah, that's what George Foreman's have to say about that, man. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about history, man. A little bit about history because oh man, you know what? You know what, Mr. Boston today, man. I think I have to go with Dude, I'm 50-50 on this one. On Canelo and Golovkin. I'm very 50-50 on this one because anything can happen. Yes, Golovkin didn't look good in his last two fights. There's some signs of slowdown in those last two fights with namely Kell Brook and Danny Jacobs. As opposed to Golovkin slowing down a little bit, Canelo's getting better. He's getting better. He's getting better with his technique. He's been able to, he's effective with his counter punching. He's able to shorten his punches a lot better. He's getting, he started to move around the ring a lot better. He's slightly improved on cutting off the ring. So the thing about Canelo is he likes to fight off the ropes. He seems to adapt to fighting off the back foot very well in his last few fights. And when he wants you to come at him, so that gives him a chance to throw his short counter hooks and his sneaky left uppercut in the inside. And he has very quick, very good hand speed. And the thing about Golovkin is that he has so much trouble handling hand speed with certain guys. We saw that in the Kell Brook fight. We saw that in the Danny Jacobs fight. He was very bothered by the hand speed. Whenever you clock Golovkin, he always seems to reset all the damn time. And Canelo's going to eat that up, in my opinion. Now, if I have to slightly favor somebody, maybe I'll go with Canelo on this. But at the same time, it's still a 50-50 fight, man. Still 50-50 fight. So I'm still on the fence on that one. So who do you got on that one, man? If you mind me asking. Well, you know what, MBT, good point. But we seen how Kell Brook was able to take Golovkin's shots very well. So if Kell Brook can take Golovkin's shots very well, then definitely Canelo can. Yeah, I mean, you know what, man? I would not argue that decision because of what I've seen in the last two fights. Yeah, Canelo Canelo does have, Canelo definitely has a very good shot at winning this by unanimous decision based off the last two fights, last two performances by Golovkin. So, yeah, and the fight's coming up next week too. So we're all talking about Adonis Stevenson for the last week or so. We forgot about that fight. Yeah, I mean, I agree with y'all, man. NBT and Mr. Boxing Day. I would go with Golovkin if this was 2015, but now, nah, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. So, yeah, yeah. So, yeah. So we'll see what happens. I want to get on some history talk a little bit, if you gentlemen don't mind me asking, man. Now, on my last hangout before I got cut off, I mentioned that Terry Norris and Oscar De La Hoya was supposed to fight back in 1997. Mr. Boxing Today and Boxing Library, either one of you, or NBT, do you guys know anything about? Did you guys ever heard of that fight? Ever what's going to happen? You guys aware of that? Hey, shout out Blue Rocks, bro. You said Adonis Stevenson, we got to run him out of boxing if he don't fight anyone. You know what, man? Here's the thing. Adonis Stevenson had fans, right? He had so much support when he rose to the occasion, when he beat Chad Dawson. Yeah, MBT. I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna repeat the question for you, man. My bad. Yeah, so when he beat Chad Dawson, had a good couple of wins again. He was, he looked pretty impressive against the guys like Tavoris Cloud and Tony Bellew. He had a following. He created a following. A pretty not a big following, but he was garnering some following, and people were supporting him. All right, he became Fight of the Year. He was a lineal champion. He came up from 168, right? Now all of a sudden, when he put himself in a position of getting, bigger paydays, this dude's now taking the high risk, low reward route. The guy has been fighting lower tier opposition for the last 4 years, and all these, for some reason, it seems like every single fight that this dude has been involved as far as negotiations concerns, they seem to fall through. Okay. And one particular guy, Low Place, every time something happens in that situation, Adonis Stevenson, he always has to find some reason, some way to blame the other side why those negotiations fall through. Okay? I'm not saying that Adonis Stevenson is 100% at fault why negotiations fall through. But at the same time, he has to accept responsibility for some of the reasons why he's fought to obscurity for the last 4 years. Okay? It's his fault. He has himself to blame why he's an irrelevant champion. Hey, it's all good, library. I'll try again. Don't worry about it, man. I'll try it. But yeah, so yeah, and the thing about it too, like Adonis Stevenson, like Deontay Wilder, like many other fighters, I go after Arizona De Lara. If they're not fighting the best opposition when they're champions, man, we gotta call them out on it. Okay, exactly. We gotta call them out on it. Adonis Stevenson had 4 years, man. 4 years too long, and this is what he's been doing. Okay, he doesn't really care because at this point he's making what, big paydays, like low seven-figure paydays, and he's fighting, low risk opposition. He's okay with that, you know. And the thing is that hey, you gotta do what you gotta do to get paid, but you gotta understand that when you fight lower tier opposition for such a long stretches of time, you're gonna be subject to ridicule. And you see, in the foreign rematch, and this is what I was telling Low Place, the Canadian audience booed the fuck out of him because they're tired of seeing him fight opposition like this. It's like, dude, you're the champion. You gotta do something. This is where Jim Gray tested him on this, had called him out on this in the post fight interview. So he could go out and make as many call outs as he want to, but the question is like, dude, make the fights happen. Andre Ward gets criticized for being a diva, and rightfully so. But Andre Ward has a good track record of making big fights happen. That is a fact. You cannot distort that. Low Place does that all the goddamn time, trying to undermine the negotiations, the success that Andre Ward has opposed to Adonis Stevenson. Okay? And as I told him, you cannot give Adonis Stevenson credit for fights that he did not make. It's not in the record books. You could say he's being ducked. That's your opinion. But being ducked does not make you great. All right? And while you're a champion, if you don't want to take on the high risk, fighters, those top tier fighters, if you're not willing to make an attempt to do that, then you got to give up the belt. You just get out the sport then, man. You made enough money, and from my understanding you have, and just get out. But it seems to me at this point he's trying to cash out because he's 40 years old and he knows he ain't got that much. He's got very little time left. So, yeah. Exactly. Charlie Burley fought dangerous fights in the process, even though he didn't get those big time fights with LaMotta, Robinson, and Palmer and those guys. But the fact is, he fought other guys who are far more dangerous, who gave him a shot, like Homer Williams, the Archie Moores, and the Lloyd Marshalls, the Burt Lydells, and Jack Chases, those guys. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, definitely. Eddie Booker, throw him in there too. Burt Lydell, Homer Williams, Lloyd Marshall, those guys. Definitely deserve marks, even though they were severely ducked, but they took on dangerous fights. They didn't sit around and wait in one division and wait for something to happen. They went and fought challenges outside the division. And it's funny though, because Low Place really kind of, tied himself in knots, as you call it, Library, when he said that he doesn't want, Adonis Stevenson to go up to cruiserweight. But when he says that Adonis Stevenson could knock out Deontay Wilder, then he's advocating for him to go up to heavyweight. I'm like, well, wait a minute, hold up. How can you say that Stevenson should go up to heavyweight but not go up to cruiserweight? Yeah, I remember that comment. Corleen, hey, shout out Corleen Durant. Yeah, I remember that comment. I heard about that. Yeah, I heard that block through. I heard Rigondeaux's older than he looks. He does look a little older than he look. But hey, yeah, I know Ray Robinson did say that about Charlie Burley. That was the rumor. I know, Librarian, you brought that up about a couple of years ago. I remember when you told me about that. So, yeah, true. The thing about Rigondeaux, he does look old though, man. Just like Luis Ortiz, they both look older than their ages. But hey, that's what that's what the ages, the date of birth, their birth certificates, whatever. That's what it says. That's what it says. Yeah. I mean, what else we got here? Yeah, Stevenson for the MBT. Stevenson forgot B Hop was undisputed lineal champion. It took $2 million. Is some change when he fought Trinidad. Exactly. You know what, MBT? I told Low Place that so many goddamn times he doesn't want to listen. He wants his argument initially. Yeah, his argument initially was that as a lineal champion, you should not be taking lower splits than the other guy who's not the lineal champion. And I told him there has been times when the lineal champions have taken lower splits against guys who are not the lineal champions. Ezra Charles took a lower split when he fought Gus Lavanovich. While Gus Lavanovich ducked him at light heavyweight, but Ezra Charles still gave him a shot, and Lavanovich still took a high purse. Okay, and then you had Michael Spinks, a lineal champion heavyweight, took a lower split to fight Mike Tyson, who was the bigger, who was the cat, the top guy. Okay, and Bernard Hopkins not only took a 22% split to fight Felix Trinidad, but he also took a 30% split when he fought Oscar De La Hoya. And Hopkins was the lineal and undisputed middleweight champion. He took a 30% split. Yeah, man. He doesn't respect Hopkins, man. He doesn't respect him at all. And I called him out on that. It's like, how can you sit there and criticize people for not quote unquote respecting Adonis Stevenson, but yet you shit on Bernard Hopkins. You have no respect for that man, and you want to call us not real boxing fans for not respecting the fighter. Well, you don't respect these other fighters like Abraham and Hopkins. So he's a hypocrite, man. He's a total hypocrite, and he knows that himself too. So I'm not sure if he lacks that understanding. Yeah. Let's talk about Terry Norris. Yeah, the question I asked is that Terry Norris and Oscar De La Hoya were going to fight each other in 1997. Bob Arum was going to sign on that fight as long as that Terry Norris get past his this French guy that he was supposed to fight. He was a lineal in the and Norris was the reigning lineal in unified light middleweight champion. Uh, yeah. So basically, what happened was that Norris got knocked out, or I think he lost or got knocked out by the French guy, and the fight fell through. At the same time, Norris had a mandatory challenger, which is Felix Trinidad. And what's so strange about the situation is that Trinidad was fighting at 147. He was the IBF champion, yet he was a mandatory to Norris's WBC title, and he fought in a one-weight class below him. So obviously, he wasn't going to go for the in that situation. He wasn't going to go fight Felix Trinidad because he knew Oscar De La Hoya was one of the biggest cash cows, or one of the rising stars at the time. So for him to get the Oscar De La Hoya fight, he had to get through this French guy, and then once he beats him, he was going to vacate his titles and then fight Oscar De La Hoya at a catchweight for the 154 catchweight title. So that was how that fight almost came off, but it didn't happen because Norris got knocked out by the French guy. I forgot his name, but yeah. So yeah, that's how that happened. So anyways, if that fight had gone down, you think Norris would have beaten De La Hoya, or you think De La Hoya would have won that fight? I'm just asking you guys' opinion. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks, bud. Thanks, bud. I kind of noticed that too when I tested out my first hangout, not too long ago. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stick with this. I'm gonna do this more often. Yeah, I think Oscar De La Hoya would have won that fight because Terry Norris was very. I would say he was shot, even though he was the middle, the lineal under unified 154 champion. But yeah, I think he didn't really have it anymore. Yeah, I would go with Oscar on that one. Yeah, Hawkins was definitely most accomplished, man. I mean, yeah, I mean, come on, man. I mean, and the thing about it, think about low place. Yeah, I go with Oscar too. Yeah, well, yeah, we all agree that Oscar De La Hoya would have won that fight. We all would agree. But the thing about this too is that low place. What I was going to say about this is that low place blames, and this is one of the most idiotic comments I've ever heard. Right? Initially, this is like I said. This guy keeps contradicting himself. He keeps twisting himself around. All right, in these circles. Initially, when we first spoke, when we first interacted, right, he said that Adonis Stevenson was a bigger star than Bernard Hopkins at that point, right? He said that, right? And then when I told him, I was like, well, how could that be the case? Because Adonis Stevenson never sold out any of his championship fights until this day. He does terrible at the gate. So how could you say that? And Adonis Stevenson only has 3 wins. He was a lineal champion. He was fighter of the year. So what? That doesn't mean he gets to call the shots, right? So when Adonis Stevenson didn't want to take the 25% split, Hawkins elected to go to HBO and make a fight with Kovalev in a unification bout. He blames Bernard Hopkins for the reason why Adonis Stevenson has terrible TV ratings ever since that ever happened. He blames Hopkins for that. And I was like, well, wait a minute. How can you blame Hopkins for his terrible ratings against Fonfara, his terrible ratings against Sikorsky, his terrible ratings against Thomas Williams Jr., the Fonfara rematch, and Tommy Carpenti? You're blaming Hopkins for all that? And he said, yeah. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I thought you said that Adonis Stevenson was a bigger star than Bernard Hopkins. Thank you. Yeah. So I don't know, man. The dude ties himself in knots. Yeah, so I don't know, man. You know what? I heard something about Vasquez having the same trainer that Margarito had with the Lotus Gloves. I heard something about that, but I don't know about that, man. Blue Rocks, I don't know about that, but I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna look into that. But yeah, man, if that fight would have got made between Oscar and Terry Norris, I would have to go with Oscar De La Hoya. But if this was a prime Terry Norris, I don't know. That'd be more of a 50-50 fight because Terry Norris could punch. He could throw combinations. He could box at angles. The dude was unbelievably talented and very good, skillful fighter. But the only thing is, dude had terrible punch resistance. Probably up there with Floyd Patterson. Well, maybe Floyd Patterson had a little better chin than Terry Norris. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, man. You better get ready, man, bro. Library. You better get ready because he called you out again. So, but the thing is too is like, look, if we're gonna have an honest conversation, he's got to do it on my channel because I went to his channel too many times already. So, and like I said, I don't mind going back on there, but just see him humiliate himself, and I'll just sit there and let him act like a fool. But at the same time, if you want to have an honest discussion, you're gonna come to my channel, and I'll give you the treatment that you want. Okay, I'm not gonna, mute you. I'm not gonna lower your volume so that you can look bad. I'm going to give you the respect that you claim. All right, but if you insult anybody, I'm gonna call you out. I'm gonna insult you back. That's what I'm gonna tell him, and I extended my invitation to him. So, yeah, man. Yeah, he said. Well, he said he schooled you many times. He said that, right, librarian? Well, you know what, Black Blue Rocks? Hey, you know what? It is funny though because grudge matches do happen after many years later, like Jeff Fennick and Azuma Nelson. Those guys were way out of shape, way overweight, and they had I mean Jeff Fennick was a little bit more in better shape than Azuma Nelson when they fought in their grudge match back in 2003. So yeah, we'll see, man. May never know. I heard the rumor that Trinidad Mayorga was going to think about a grudge match. Ricardo Mayorga. I heard something about that, but I don't know, man. Hey, what's up, Ambitious D? What's next for SOG? You know what? We don't know, but according to Yvonne Michelle, he does not rule out the fact that Andre Ward could be fighting Adonis Stevenson next in the fall for a unification bout. He did allude to that in an interview with the Montreal Journal, but we don't know for sure. But we know that Andre has made it. He's kind of like, has been very passive about fighting Adonis Stevenson. And Adonis Stevenson, the same way to some degree. Well, he's been vocal about it, but he hasn't reached out to Ward to make the fight. But in fairness, Andre didn't do the same either. So they're both playing games. But at the same time, I would say, look, I would trust Ward to make fights happen more than Adonis Stevenson because SOG, Andre has a reputation. Though he is a diva. He's difficult to deal with in negotiations, but he makes fights happen. He has a good track record of that. Adonis Stevenson doesn't have a good track record. He always have simple, dumbass fights that fall through. I don't understand why he has this record of that. Yeah, Corleen, I agree. Well, you know what, Mayorga's not. You know what? Dude, I don't know how he's getting licensed. I was surprised that Mayorga was able to get a boxing license when he fought Shane Mosley in the grudge match, because the dude was very shot. He's mentally not there. The dude was like totally punch drunk. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Well, obviously he's fighting in Nicaragua and Central America and some parts of Mexico, so he's able to get a license there, just like a Margarito is. Yeah, library says that, in over 7 hours, he schooled me over nothing. He just made himself a YouTube last stop. Bottle Jack beating Wilder. Yeah, I mean, he's already done that, man. He's already done that. Yeah, he's trying so hard to get out of that situation. He dug himself in a deep hole. When he debated me, he debated you. He's debated many other guys. And the fact is that, he's just trying so hard to get out of it to the point that he's insulting a lot of people. He's trying to go to war with the LDBC. I don't know why, over one fucking fighter that he's emotionally attached to. So I don't quite understand that. Let me see. Ambitious D, you said here, quote, I believe that Adonis is ducking Alvarez. Badu should fight Alvarez and put more pressure on Adonis. You know what? That's an interesting point that you made up. But since you mentioned Badu Jack and Lydia Alvarez, they were actually scheduled. They were going to announce that fight to happen on the undercard of McGregor and Mayweather. And what happened is that Alvarez pulled out of the fight due to an injury. And this is according to the Montreal Journal. So they were going to make that fight happen. So I don't know if Alvarez was faking the injury so that way he didn't have to fight Badou Jack, because that was a dangerous risk because he's risking his mandatory position. He probably faked it to pull out so that way he could keep that status so he could go after Stevenson. That's possible, but we don't know. Yeah, I mean, I agree. That would be a damn good fight if Alvarez didn't get injured. But like I said, I mean, we can't, we're looking from the outside in. He could have been telling the truth about his injury, but I don't know. I mean, it seems odd to me because, now 7 months too later, he's ready for a shot at Adonis Stevenson. So, yeah. Yeah, why not? MBT. Well, Alexis Aguero, yeah, I mean, that's his idol. I mean, Alexis Aguero, I mean, yeah, I mean, Roman Gonzalez got ways to go to achieve that Alexis Aguero's greatness. Yeah, he's got ways to go. I agree with you, Library, on that. He's got ways to go. Hey, you know what? That fight is right around the corner. Is at the Forum, isn't that right, Blue Rocks? Yeah, that fight with that super card that the super flyweight, that's at the Forum. I might go attend that fight on Saturday. We'll see. I'm not sure my fiance to do it because she doesn't like boxing. Yeah, I will see. But yeah, dude, like I said. Oh, that's right, StubHub. Okay, that's right, man. Carson. Yeah, it's still kind of close. I mean, a little bit of a drive, but hey, I can still get there. Yeah, that's too cool. Yeah, I thought it was at the Forum. Wow, I guess StubHub. Yeah, man, Nui is, yeah, he ain't no joke. And I made this comment a while back. I said if you put a Nui in there against Roman Gonzalez, I think Nui's gonna knock Roman Gonzalez out. The dude's too big. He's got too much of a reach. He's got power in both hands. He knows how to place his shots very well. He's balanced with his shots. So yeah, Gonzalez. Yeah, Gonzalez was. I think Gonzalez was gonna get knocked out if he fights a Nui. But to be fair though, Gonzalez got a good chin. So may never know. Yeah, true. It is a cheaper venue to rent, for tenants plus, well, for guest tenants, I should say. So, yeah, true. I don't think, yeah, the fight ain't even sold out, so obviously it's got plenty of seats left to buy. So, yeah, so, yeah, another thing I wanted to ask you guys, a little bit of boxing history too. Go back to this. I may ask you a few more questions. I'm gonna get off. Uh, Paul Williams versus Kelly Pavlik. You guys know that fight was supposed to happen too, right? Who do you think would have won that fight? Pavlik? You know what? I might lean with Pavlik on that too. Yeah, I might have to lean with Pavlik. Well, my librarian said, well, Paul Williams on points. You know what? You guys, both good points. Let me just look at this from two scenarios. Pavlik was very good at walking down. I mean, he made a career fighting smaller guys. Let's be real. He did fight a lot of smaller guys. Well, you know what, Ambitious D? Paul, yeah, Paul was tall, yeah, because he was good at keeping his hands. He had a habit of keeping his hands on a lot. But Kelly Pavlik was not a good defensive fighter himself either. He was a stiff target. Dude literally had no head movement whatsoever, and he had slow reflexes. Uh, Paul Williams could exploit that, but the thing is that Paul Williams is a naturally small guy, okay, and he was a welterweight. So would Kelly Pavlik give Paul Williams that respect? Because will Paul Williams' punches be effective at middleweight? Against Kelly Pavlik, who actually could take a punch. So I mean, there's two scenarios. Yeah, there's two scenarios. I mean, yeah, Paul Williams. Yeah, he wasn't that great using his height, but he definitely he had power on both hands. He had very good boxing skills, but he was pretty flat-footed. But if you talk about as far as footwork is concerned, Paul Williams was a little bit better on the footwork than Kelly Pavlik. Kelly Pavlik was very stiff. I mean, he never used to bend his knees very well. Yeah, yeah, I agree, Librarian. He did have a very good height rate. I mean, very good high work rate. And yeah, yeah, that's true. And Pavlik was very slow of reacting to punches, just like Golovkin. And the only thing Pavlik did have is that he had a very incredible long reach. you know, so and he was a relentless pressure fighter. Yeah, Corleen Doran says, quote, Paul Williams to me was a better Robert Easter in terms of building giveaway that height, plus his volume would open him up to get countered. Well, you make a point there a little bit, but Paul Williams was, I mean, Paul Williams was a much better fighter than Robert Easter, to be honest with you. I mean, he's a much better fighter. And the thing about Robert Easter too, I like Robert Easter, but he hasn't really looked too impressive in his last two fights. Particularly against the Denis Shafikov fight, which I felt that he lost that fight, and I wouldn't argue that it would have been a draw, but I felt he lost it. I think he gave away a couple rounds. So, well, yeah, you know what? Yeah, that was a bad knockout. Sergio Martinez over Paul Williams. Yeah, that was a bad knockout. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Easter pissed me off. Fuck off with Shafikov. Fuck. You know what? You know what, man? Styles make fights, man. Even the greatest fighter's not going to have the best nights. But I believe that Easter tried to fight. He fought the hardest he could, but he was dealing with a different style. He was dealing with a guy who wasn't afraid to, stand in front of him, trade with him in the inside and pressure him. And Robert Easter was not dealt in that situation before. So, yeah, I mean, style makes fights, man. But both fighters fought harder. But I thought that Easter gave away a few rounds. I thought he took a lot of rest off in a couple rounds. So yeah. Well, yeah, NBT. I don't think the score. Well, yeah, the scorecards were bad. They were awful. The fight should have been scored close. I'm like I said, if you felt that Easter won the fight, I could see that. I could see a draw. But I could see that Shafikov won the fight. I thought Shafikov won it, but in no way in hell that Robert Easter won all those rounds of that fight. I think one or two refs scored it 120 to 108. Gave all the rounds to Robert Easter, man. That was disgraceful scoring right there, man. And let me be real. If anybody think that Robert Easter won that fight by a wide margin, somebody's got to be smoking crack cocaine if they believe that. Yeah, I agree with y'all, man. I mean, ambitious D. Yeah, I agree. It was a draw at best. I had Shafikov winning, but like I said, I couldn't argue a draw. But I could see that Robert Easter may have won the fight. It was very close. The rounds were so close, man. But I felt that Easter gave away a couple rounds, in my opinion. That's just the way I felt. Yeah, man. Yeah, NBT. Yeah, definitely check that fight out, man. You'll see how horrendous that scorecard was, man. But obviously it was a Robert Easter's backyard, but still, man. I mean, look, you could have gave Shafikov the benefit of the doubt there because I felt sorry for him, dude, because he's worked so hard for so many years, man. He's been the receiving end of bad decisions. I think, especially against when he fought Bartholomew, man. I felt he won that fight against Bartholomew, and I thought he got robbed from that. So it's like, man, this guy can't get a break, and I feel sorry for the dude. He's getting up in age. He doesn't have that much time left, and he's fighting to feed his family. So it's like I feel sorry for him, man. He's one of those Eastern European fighters that you got to give the benefit of the doubt that he's trying so hard. And not saying that Golovkin's not driving hard either, but still, though, Shafikov is fighting the best, though. He's doing the best he can, and he's just getting the short end of the stick almost in every big fight that he's in. Damn, quick question. Black Blues Roll Rock. You know what? Luis Ortiz he does have the tools to dominate. He does, man. He's an unbelievable skilled fighter. For a heavyweight, he does rolls his punches very well. He's very elusive. Because he got that Cuba style. I mean, the last heavyweight who's very elusive and can roll with his punches pretty well at one point. I mean, I remember Tyrell Biggs was very good at that in his heyday, but until, obviously Tyrell Biggs kind of fell to obscurity from a personal standpoint. He was hooked on drugs and, he had a lot of personal issues that derailed his career from taking off, to, so many levels. So Tony Tucker was very good at rolling punches. Tony Tucker was a very good boxer for a heavyweight. So I mean, yeah. To your question, I think Ortiz can dominate, but we have to see what he's in. How well he does against Wilder, Parker, Joshua. Um, hey, I gotta say it, Povetkin, Alexander Povetkin, Amir Mansour, those guys. I mean, I keep bringing up Amir Mansour. I know low place laughed at me when I brought up Amir Mansour as one of the very good one of the very good heavyweights. Amir Mansour is a very good heavyweight. His record, don't let his record fool you, okay? This man is a very good heavyweight. And I think sometimes the ranking systems do him injustice. And I can't do nothing about that. But the thing is that Amir Mansour one time fought to get a ranking for the WBC when he fought Travis Kaufman. As soon as he got a ranking, I think about a few weeks later, he was removed from the WBC. Okay, he was removed. So he's been getting the short end of the stick too to some degree, but like I said, anyways, I mean, I gotta see Ortiz how well he does against those type of heavyweights because if he can perform just as well as he did against Brian Jennings or Malik, well, he didn't look too great against Malik Scott because Malik Scott is a very elusive guy. He's very difficult to hit. So um, let's just see how well he does against Wilder. I think that's the fight that's going to be made. I can't wait. I'll be excited about it. So yeah, we'll see. Ambitious D. Next question here. Will Mikey Garcia make it at 147? Yeah. You know what? Mikey did say that he would like to get a couple fights there. So if he's going to fight somebody at 147, it won't be a full run. I think it'd be a one-off fight, or maybe one or two-off fights, like what Joe Kawasaki did when he cleaned out the 168 division. He moved up to 175 and take a couple one-off fights against Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones, and then he called it a career. So I could see Mikey doing that against maybe Keith Thurman or Terrence Crawford. I think Terrence Crawford is more ideal because they're both smaller guys coming up in weight. That could be possible, but then again, the roadblock with Mikey is that he has a very um, very turbulent or a very turbulent relationship with Top Rank. So yeah, he has a very tough relationship with Top Rank. So now he's with the PBZ brand with Al Heyman. So I don't. It's gonna be difficult to make a Garcia and Crawford fight to happen. I mean, it can happen though. Let's not get it twisted. Let's not rule out that possibility because Floyd Mayweather was able to ink a deal with Manny Pacquiao back in 2015. Top Rank and PBC and Al Heyman, they were able to get together and make that fight happen. So if they were able to do that, so definitely can get the Garcia and Crawford fight to happen. It will be some roadblocks, no question about it. But I mean, so obstacles, I should say. But definitely, I think it can happen. Let me see. Corleen Doran says, "Look, Scott didn't want to engage. Just saying." That's true. Yeah, Scott definitely didn't want to engage. So that's why he was being elusive, and Ortiz was like chasing him, and that made him look bad in the fight. So one thing Ortiz is going to have to learn is to be more effective, cutting off the ring a little bit in that situation. So that way he doesn't look too bad. Kind of like how Canelo kind of looked pretty bad against Erislandy Lara when he was chasing him around the ring all night. So let's see. Um, Corleen Durant. I don't think Mikey has no business at above 140. You know what? You know what, man? Mikey doesn't look. When he fought Adrian Broner, some people said that he looked bigger than Broner. Nah, I don't see that. He looked smaller than Broner when they fought, and it seemed to me he rehydrated less than Broner because obviously he was coming up in weight, and Broner is a much bigger natural guy. So and he looked pretty small at 140. If he goes up to 147, I don't know if his speed and his punch resistance would be the same because he's packing on more weight and he probably more slower in as far as footwork wise. So and his punches may not have the same effect. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, I would like to see him. I would like to see Mikey get a couple, maybe one or two fights at 147 so he can get the feel of the weight. But if he does go up there and takes on one of those top guys at 147, like a Thurman or Spence, dude, that's like a dangerous risk that he's taking. That's like a Sugar Ray Leonard risk that he's taking when he came out of 3-year retirement to fight a Hagler at a different weight class. Who will spell ambitious D? Who will spell Jeff? Who will expose Jeff Horn at 147? Well, I mean, hey man, Jeff Horn is the lineal champion at 147. Well, hey, Jeff Horn did call out Earl Spence, and now that the Pacquiao fight has been called off, he doesn't have an opponent. So, hopefully Earl Spence can step in there, but I don't know. I don't know if that could happen, but hopefully it does. I'm just crossing my fingers on that. We can get a good unification bout between Horn and Spence. Yeah, that's true. Mikey did get ready for Madonna, help him prepare for his fight against Mayweather. That's true. He did. That's true. That's true. But then again, sparring is totally different from an actual prize fight. So, like I said, I'm not ruling out Mikey's chances at 147. But like I said, I just don't think he's going to make a full run there. I think he's going to take a couple one-off fights and then maybe move back down and wait or call it a career. That's what I think. That's what he's going to do. Well, yeah, Jeff Horn is the champion now, so now he can call people out. So, and the thing about that, now he's the lineal champion. Well, he's a champion, and despite that, did he really call out Anthony Boudin in BT? Did he seriously do that? Anthony Boudin can barely make 154, so I don't think he gonna kill himself to make 147. And mind you, Anthony Boudin started his career as a light heavyweight, and he moved all the way down to 154. That's unusual for anybody to do that in their careers. Oh, so they're talking about a middleweight fight. Okay, okay, that makes sense. Because Horn is a very big welterweight. I don't think he can make that weight that long. I mean, and you know what though? Anthony Mundine is definitely, I don't know, man. I don't know. You might agree with me on this one. Anthony Mundine is, to me, is no longer relevant, but it definitely will pack houses because Mundine is a very popular figure in your country. I know that. Well, actually, in the continent of Australia. So we all know he's a very popular guy over there. And he can draw people. He can draw people to come to his fights. So him and Horn fighting, that's a big draw. Big draw. Even though that fight could be a, I don't know, man. Lomo versus Rigo, Ambitious D. Who do I got? Oh man. Hmm. Dude, that's a 50-50 fight. I can't select a winner on that one, man. I'm on the fence on that one because Lomachenko has not fought anyone that's very skilled as Rigondeaux. And to be fair, though, Rigondeaux hasn't really fought anyone who's as skilled as Lomachenko. So that's why I say it's a 50-50 fight, man. Yeah, you know what, MBT, Mundine is a very controversial figure, dude, because I've been following this guy a little bit. I know he said a lot of things that pisses a lot of people off, especially the way he went at Jeff Bennett for all these years. You know, way he beefing with a guy that's way smaller than him, calling him out for a fight. I mean, come on, the guy Jeff Moore has been retired for many years, and you still call him out for a fight. Okay. And he's made, controversial remarks about how his people are being mistreated by the superiority and all that stuff. And I know Anthony McGee is a controversial figure. He'll say what he wants to say, but he gets away with it because he has a lot of power. And you know that it's kind of like Floyd Mayweather over here in the States. you know. Yeah, man. I'm waiting for that fight to happen too, man. Lomachenko versus Rigondeaux. I know the date. They said the tentative date is December 9th, so we're just waiting for the official word on that. Yeah, man. I really hope that Rigondeaux wins, man. I really hope he wins that fight. I really hope. You know what, too? You know what, dude? I read something about that too. Because if you make any comments about September 11th on, about Americans on that, during that time, especially the tragic time, you're gonna get blackballed. And let me give you an example of certain individuals that got their careers derailed over comments about 9/11 during that time. I'm not sure you. I don't really don't listen to pop music, but there was a group called Blue, right? They were a UK pop boy band group, right? And their careers were taking off, right, in the UK. They were blowing up in the UK, and they were about to debut over in America, right, with their singles, whatnot. So, obviously, Blue came over here, and one of the band members made a controversial comment about 9/11, right? But he said his words were taken out of context because what happened was when Blue shot a music video in NYC during that day. They were in New York when it happened. When they shot the music video, they saw towers blown up in an explosion. They saw fire smoke coming out of the towers right in front of them during that day when the planes flew into the towers, right? So one of the band members went over to the UK, and obviously they kept giving interviews about their recollection of the experience and what happened in 9/11. They kept going over it over and over again with many tabloids about this. Until one time, one of the band members was fed up and said, "Look, I don't want to talk about 9/11. Forget that. I don't want to talk about 9/11. Let's move on to something else." As soon as he said that, his comments got blown up as controversy that he made some disparaging remarks about America. And since then, Blues careers got shot in the American soil. They were still popping in the UK before they broke up, but they killed their chances of becoming, a popular boy group in America when one of the members made that comment. So yeah, I see what you're coming from, MBT. Let me see. Ambitious D. Jezreel Corrales, not impressed with him. Yeah, Corrales is a good fighter, but yeah, he's not overly impressive. I need to see more of him. You know what I mean? I mean, the thing about Corrales, I see that he keeps his hands low all the goddamn time. He keeps getting hit with hooks, man. He doesn't roll off with his punches pretty well. He does it when he tried to be slick with it with his with his hands down, but he keeps getting clipped. And on his last fight, he was getting knocked down a lot. It's like, dude, you gotta have a better tight guard on your defense. So yeah. So Corlane says here, is there any other boxing history that you all know that has been underappreciated more than Regadow? You know what, man, Corleen? Let's go back to history. There's many fighters that were, were in worse situations than ringing down. They were unappreciated. We can go back to the Black Murderers Row members, and Boxing Librarian could attest to this as well, just like Mr. Doc and me. The Black Murderers Row members like Eddie Booker, the Burt Lydell, the Jack Chases, the Holman Williams, the Lloyd Marshalls, the Charlie Burleys, who's probably the best fighter out of the group, or Ezra Charles, who was not officially dubbed as a Black Murderers Row member, but he could be put in that class too because Ezra Charles was severely ducked by a lot of great fighters who didn't want to fight him. So these guys were very ducked. They were very appreciated because years ago when a writer came out and dubbed them the Black Murderers Row, and wrote all kind of things about them, about how very skillful they were, how dangerous they were. When they were dubbed the Black Murderers Rows, nobody wanted to go near them. Nobody. None of the top lineal great champions like Tony Zale, Sugar Ray Robinson, they didn't want to go near those guys. Hey, but Jake LaMotta actually fought some of them through his career as a middleweight. You know, you got to give props for that. Ezra Charles, man. Ezra Charles started his career at welterweight. I think it was welterweight he started his career. No. He was a middleweight. Okay, he started his career at middleweight. At the age of 18, Ezra Charles beat Charlie Burley. At the age of 18, he beat him twice. He beat Tommy Yares, a gold medalist and a Hall of Famer, the world champion. He beat him once and beat Christoph as a world champion as well. Ezra Charles moved up between weights and fought Archer Moore, beat him, beat Joey Maxwell, beat Jimmy Bivens. He beat a lot of guys until he went up to heavyweight. He was ducked at light heavyweight against Gus Lalovich, who was the light heavyweight champion at the time. And Gus Lalovich did not want to fight this guy. He was going to get paid $50,000, which would have been the biggest payday of his career at that point. Lalovich said, no, I don't want that fight because I care more about holding on to this belt than taking on a guy like that. He was more worried about his reputation. So Ezra and the Black Murderers Rows, like Eddie Booker and others, what they had to do, there were times that they showed up for fights, like Charlie Burley, for example. He showed up for a fight. So, he showed up, and next his opponent didn't show up, and he was fighting a goddamn heavyweight. And he knocked out that heavyweight. So, anyways, y'all, I got to get off of here, man. It's been long. Good talking to y'all. So, I'm out. Peace.